Omega-3 and cancer, a study published in the Journal of Clinical Oncology in 2005 evaluated the effects of omega-3 supplementations in patients with colon cancer. In this study, 127 patients with stage 3 colon cancer were randomized to receive omega-3 fatty acids, 2.2 grams per day, or a placebo for 6 months after completing surgery and and like chemotherapy. The research
Adjuvant.
adjuvant chemotherapy. What can you pronounce it again?
You said it right.
Ad,
Adjuvant.
adjuvant chemotherapy.
Adjuvant.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The researchers found that the rate of disease-free survival was significantly higher in the omega-3 group compared to the placebo group, which was 82 versus 72 percentage. So yeah, the survival rate of the people taking omega-3 was higher,
Yeah, but
basically by
that's
10
when they
percentage.
that well even a little bit more. Yeah, but basically that's they've already cut the cancer out, and then post cancer will survive longer.
Yeah. A study published by the Journal of National Cancer Institute in 2013 evaluated the effects of omega-3 in patients with prostate cancer. And in a randomized controlled trial of 1,180 patients with no metastatic prostate cancer, were randomized to receive omega-3, either omega-3 acids or a placebo, um, for a median of 4 years, like an average of 4 years. The researchers found that there was no significant difference in the rate of prostate cancer progression between the two groups.
Yeah, that's not now we're talking about direct effect on cancer.
Yep. A study published, this was published by British Journal of Cancer in 2015, evaluated the effects of omega-3 supplementation in women and breast cancer. In this trial, uh, 1,042 women with wait, I'm gonna sneeze. Fuck. Ah, a
You didn't
thousand.
blow away the house, did you?
Wait, what?
You didn't blow away the house, did you?
No, I didn't, bro.
It
Fortunately,
sounded pretty intense.
I mean, it was pretty
Like a
intense.
hurricane.
That didn't happen, but you know what happened? A booger landed near my
What?
keyboard.
Oh,
I
gross.
have a
Eat it
tissue
quick
though.
before it gets germs.
No, eat it quick before it starts tasting like bad, before it loses taste. uh,
Gross.
I'm joking. I don't need my boogers. Or maybe sometimes. No, I don't.
You would say that, wouldn't you?
Someone that eats her boogers will say that, am I right?
Yeah. If you didn't eat your boogers, you wouldn't care. You wouldn't care to say
uh, okay, I confess, I'm a professional booger eater. My bad, my bad. But yeah, a thousand
it.
a thousand and
You
forty
eat it with a spoonful.
a spoon.
You just save them until you have a spoonful, and then
Yeah,
once a month you get to enjoy a full spoon.
I keep them in a jar, bro, for whenever I have cravings, and I just spoon it up.
for, for special event.
Yeah,
When you get something good happens, you open the jar of
yeah,
burgers.
yeah. Just like if it was fucking
uh,
peanut. 1,042 women with early stage breast cancer were randomized to receive either omega 3 fatty acids, and it was 1.8 grams per day, or a placebo for 5 years. And their researchers found that there was no significant difference, basically. And
Sounds more like what I've heard.
yeah, how do teeth get repaired? The natural process of repairing the teeth is called remineralization. Remineralization.
Wait,
This,
wait, wait, wait. What? Oh, how do teeth get repaired?
yeah, this process happens
Okay.
when minerals such as calcium and phosphate are deposited back into the tooth enamel, which is a hard outer layer of the tooth. This can help to reverse the effects of demineralization, which is a loss of minerals from tooth enamel that can occur due to factors such as poor oral hygiene, diet, and high intake in sugars and acids. Uh,
Like, how the fuck does that happen, right?
Yeah. Romanization can occur when the mouth is in neutral or slightly alkaline state. This can be achieved by consuming a diet rich in calcium, phosphorus, um, chewing sugar-free gum that contains or I don't know how to pronounce that word, xylitol, yeah, xylitol, which has been shown to promote remineralization. Using a fluoride toothpaste or mouthwash, fluoride can help to promote remineralization and strengthen the tooth enamel. And overall having like a good oral hygiene, brushing your teeth, um, using mouthwash, all that stuff,
Seems like brushing your
flushing
teeth
them.
would actually like wear them down.
I mean, do they? Tell me about it.
Well, if you brush your teeth too much, your gums will recede.
I'm gonna be honest. You know, between you and I and whoever listens to this, I only brush my teeth once a day.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what do you expect that I brush my teeth 3 times a day?
No, but like, isn't that like what is expected on your average human being?
No, like I don't think I've ever felt expected to brush my teeth more than once a day. Like I've never felt inspected and expected, and like I definitely never did brush my teeth more than once a day.
I wonder if like
That's
people.
the
I wonder what's the percentage of people that lie that say that they actually brush their teeth 3 times a day. Like I don't know.
Oh, it might be cultural. I mean, in America, nobody expects to brush their teeth 3 times a day. Pretty much expectation in America is once a day. Anything
Interesting.
above that is kind of overly, like, like
Over.
overly hygienic.
Yeah.
It's like taking a shower 3 times a day.
I mean, in fact,
I
this
don't know.
taking a shower also every day can be kind of bad for your natural oils and your skin. If you want to keep your skin rejuvenated or like looking as glowy and vibrant as possible, uh, you gotta like shower every like 3 days. But yeah,
So
wait, wait, wait,
how
wait.
the fuck does the teeth work?
Wait, also, I just remember reading some article in the past that um, brushing your teeth often it wears off your teeth. Yeah, it wears them off. What?
What?
I also remember they reminisced about an article that I read that says that brushing your teeth 3 times a day wears off your teeth. It
Yeah.
deteriorates.
So saying a random statement like brush your teeth to improve mineralization, like is pretty random statement.
Although,
Like without,
n-
just just basically like saying what your mom told you or some shit.
yeah, yeah. Uh,
But how the uh, go ahead.
no, no, you go.
So how the fuck does that work? Like, do teeth like grow? Like, does the like volume of a tooth increase when it remineralize remineral re,
Yes, but like
when
I remember reading
when
about
that
it, but it's
happens?
like very minimal and like it happens over time. Like you gotta like I remember I didn't add that, but I remember reading about it, and it's like very minimal and over time. Like it's like a slow process that obviously it's not super significant. It's like probably barely noticeable for the human eye if you don't keep fucking pictures of your teeth for like 1,000 days or 500 days. Like, so yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, even if it's like barely significant growth over 20 years, what the fuck happens to your teeth if they grow for 20 years?
Um, like, I I don't remember. I don't recall like seeing like the word grow, but more like sort of repair. You know, like the areas that have been like fucked up or whatnot. They'll start like repairing, right? Maybe areas that are maybe like
Well,
slightly cracked or they have dent, they might start like repairing itself. But this is sorry, a long and slow lasting process.
so like, I mean,
The word slung should exist.
uh,
The word slung should exist like slow and long. Slung.
long, yeah, yeah. And you're the master of like doing making hybrids out of words.
Yeah, yeah,
But like maybe look at like some studies someday. I guess you got other
yeah.
work for tomorrow, but like next after that, like look at some studies, like literally like see if you can find anything on like literal tooth growth. You know,
Okay,
like I
yeah.
mean, even to repair a crack, I mean, the tooth has to like legit grow material.
Yep.
uh, which like sounds like sci-fi to me, right? Like a tooth just fucking like growing.
Yeah,
Like I don't know,
I'll look that up.
or like anything that's anything except negative, growth sounds like sci-fi to me. Like I can see how the tooth would lose, like material just daily, but like it's
I mean, wouldn't it be
I
kind of
wonder if there was
like,
any studies.
wait, wouldn't it be kind of be
Uh,
like, wouldn't it kind of be like fracture fucking bones? Like when you get it fractured and you gotta like wait until it repairs itself?
well, there's living cells like all through the bone, and they like divide and grow. But like a tooth, especially outside of the tooth, is not really living cells.
I mean, there's a lot of living
Uh,
fucking microbacteria and cells and shit like that in your mouth, not right?
yeah, but they just eat shit. They don't care about your tooth.
Yeah, that's true. It's like feed us.
Yeah, pretty much.
Huh.
They just eat whatever scraps they can find.
Huh.
If anything, I would think that they would just be, like kind of, damaging the tooth, with their acidity and whatever, their fucking piss, like as the all that bacteria pisses on the tooth, it kind of dissolves some of it.
Yeah. Huh. That's true. That's
But
true.
I don't know. It's just, that's why I was like curious. Like I've heard a lot, random people say, like remineralization, but like it's hard for me. Like I feel like I would be interested to know like more about it.
Yeah, for sure. I shall check it up. Um, you asked me also like the circadian misalignment studies. Uh,
Yeah.
shift work is a risk factor for hypertension, inflammation, and cardiovascular disease. The increased risk cannot be fully explained. One of the key features of shift workers is that their behavioral and environmental cycles are typically misaligned relative to their um, indigenous circadian system. There is little information on this impact of acute circadian misalignment on cardiovascular disease in risk cardiovascular disease risk in humans. Um, Here we show by using two 8D laboratory protocols that short-term circadian misalignment of 12 hours intervened by behavioral and environmental cycles for 3 days adversely affects cardiovascular risk factors in healthy adults. Circadian
What does that
misalignment.
mean? What no, what exactly do they mean that 12 hours misalignment between behavioral and environmental? What like?
like
Exactly. What exactly what's different?
like basically if you make like you alter circadian what is it called, blah, blah, blah.
What
uh
yeah, what was exactly their method um,
like like
for misaligning people?
12 hours, like they inverted their what they usually do,
No.
right, their endeavors, their labor, their behavior and stuff like that for 12 hours for 3 days. And they fucking analyze their heart and whatnot, and it resulted that it affected their cardiovascular system. I mean, based on what I
Well, I
got.
mean that they would still have they would still have aligned feeding and awake schedule, because when they if they just tell them to sleep during the other 12 hours, then they would still be eating while before like in relationship to sleep, they would be eating in sync with their sleep, versus if you say
Well,
somebody eats during what 12 hours
basically,
and then
what is implied here when it says 12 hours inverted of behavioral and environmental cycles for 3 days is that, like, what will they be doing for, like, their average first 12 hours of the day will be done in the next 12 hours of the day. So, like, their cycle shift from, like, having a normal day, right, to like being night owls or being night active through the night, and it affected their their likelihood of getting cardiovascular diseases and whatnot. And it was only
well,
for.
okay, but there so there's for example at least so for example there is a sleeping cycle,
Yeah.
circadian cycle, sleeping cycle. Then there is the feeding cycle, which is completely, or almost completely separate from the sleeping cycle. So when your liver is awake and when your liver is kind of asleep, it's completely separated from when you feel awake and when you feel asleep.
Mm-hmm.
So if they just invert it by 12 hours, their liver will still be in sync with their sleep, because they will not they will still be eating in relationship to when they woke up at the same time, the time when they eat in relationship to when they woke up. Like, so the sleeping and the eating cycles will still be in the same sync as before. They won't change
I
in
mean,
relationship to each other.
what this is what what I got with most statistics, because a lot of, like, I went through multiple like studies, and I don't know if you have done. I mean, I bet you've done that, but like multiple of them, they do not have like a lot of statistics, or a lot of they do not specify things. Some of them, like, let's say maybe 70 percentage of them or
So
whatnot. So
so
I try to gather the ones that actually tell you, oh, this number we did that, because it's like, yes, basically you take this, and we found, came up with the resolution that if you take this, basically your this and that decreases by a good percentage, but it doesn't even tell you the percentage by a good amount. So I mean, I'm just.
yeah, but so when we want to know more about circadian misalignment, we want to know exactly what is misaligned. Like so for example, like what how does it change in relationship, for example, to like daylight, in relationship to feeding schedule, uh, sleep, wake sleep
Wait,
cycle.
can you tell me that so I
Um,
can write it down? How does the circadian misalignment? Okay, gone.
uh, what,
How does.
what it gets misaligned with? Well, really, I'm curious. Most of all, I'm curious. How does feeding schedule or feeding cycle relates to circadian cycle? Because they're both clocks in the body. So the body has clocks for both of them, and they're separate clocks.
Okay.
And so how do those two cycles, when you misalign them, and apparently, like, so in this one, the massage you mentioned, both of them get misaligned equally with daylight,
Yeah.
cycle. But I mean, like, daylight cycle is kind of, weird notion itself, right?
I still have a lot of other
So like, what?
studies to tell you about.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I'm happy to hear all of them.
Nice. Circadian misalignment increased 24 hours of systolic blood pressure and diastolic blood pressure by 3.6, 3.0. Um, I get confused every time when it's MMM.
Units.
Yeah, units, and 15 units, respectively. Uh, those results were primarily explained by an increase in blood pressure during sleep opportunities, and it was uh, uh, plus 5.6 or positive 5.6 units, and positive 1.9 units. Uh, to a lesser extent, by raised blood pressure during wake periods by positive 1.6 units and 1 point I mean positive 1.4 units. Circadian misalignment decrease wake cardial vagal modulation by 8 to 15 percentage, as determined by heart rate variability analysis, decrease by 24 hours urinary epinephrine excretion rate by 7 percentage without a significant effect on 24 hours urinary norepinephrine excretion rate. Circadian
Excretion.
misalignment. Wait, what? Excretion.
Excretion.
Excretion. Yeah, excretion.
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 E.
Excretion.
Excretion.
Yes,
Yeah.
excretion. Circadian
Yeah.
misalignment increased 24 hours serum um, interleukin 6, reactive protein, um, resisting, wait, how you pronounce that word? Resisting, and tumor,
Resistance.
no, it's just resistant, and tumor necrosis factor A levels by 3 to 29 percentage. It's demonstrated that circadian misalignment increases blood pressure and inflammatory markers.
Yeah, that's what pisses me off is that they just assume that it's one thing. But like, I want to know what causes it. Is it because you're eating when your liver is asleep, or is it because you're awake when your brain is supposed to be asleep?
Hmm.
Like I want to know like which is the real problem. Is it the feeding schedule or is it the sleeping schedule?
I see.
Yeah,
And
because feeding schedule is really, really, really important.
I see. Oh, and that also implies that it increases hypertension, inflammation, and cardiovascular disease risk when your circadian cycle is misaligned. You wanna hear it about this one? This our study about the
Yep.
circadian misalignment. Okay.
I,
Uh,
I want to hear everything you got.
okay. Circadian misalignment compared to circadian alignment increased 24 hours systolic blood pressure by 3.0 units and 24 hours systolic blood pressure by 1.5 units. Exposure duration to circadian misalignment. Test 1 versus test 3 did not significantly modulate the circadian misalignment effect on the probability of 0.90, but did not for probability 0.001, Circadian misalignment increased 24 hours. Um, Blood pressure to a slightly larger extent during test period 3, and it was 1.7 units, compared with test period of plus 1.4 units. The 24 hours blood pressure results seem primarily explained by circadian misalignment increasing. Uh, Wait, hold on. Let me clean my glasses. 1 second. The 24 hours blood pressure results seem primarily explained by circadian misalignment increasing systolic blood pressure during the sleep opportunity by 5.6 units, and diastolic blood pressure during the sleep opportunity by 1.9 units. Um, Circadian misalignment increased wake up period of systolic blood pressure by 1.6 units and diastolic blood pressure by 1.4 units. And all the p value, was lesser than 0.0004. The circadian misalignment effect was not significantly dependent on exposure duration for wake period or sleep opportunity, systolic blood pressure or wake up period. Diastolic blood pressure had an overall probability.
See, when you do like studies like this, like I really want to hear the methods, like exactly how many people they took, what exactly they did with the people, what exactly they told them to do. Like I want to hear the whole method section.
Oh, okay, for sure. I'll
Yeah,
start doing that.
for the next times.
Yeah. However,
Yeah.
the effect of circadian misalignment on sleep opportunity, DBP, or DBP, or diastolic blood pressure, was dependent on circadian misalignment exposure duration. It had a p-value of 0.001, with the increase slightly greater during test period of positive 2.2 units, and it had a p-value of 0.002. Um, and yep, basically, I mean, it implies that the people that had like their circadian misalignment fucked up in the test, they had worse results overall in the systolic blood pressure and diastolic blood pressure throughout the
Well, what
entire. What?
well what we're looking at is really if you take somebody who sleeps on a schedule and you just tell them to change their schedule by 12 hours. What happens the following, like immediately after that? So, like, it could be somebody who sleeps, during the day and is awake during the night every day, and then you tell them to switch their schedule by 12 hours, and then see how, like, during their adjustment period, the first couple of days, that's what will happen, their blood pressure and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's
So
what I
it's
got.
really, it's really for the, when you like abruptly change the schedule.
Like as you're switching
But
off your
like,
schedule, no, but like, you don't think that it lingers? Like,
uh,
are you implying that it only happens during like the switch up period while your body is
yeah,
adjusting,
oh
rather
yeah.
than that
I
being
mean,
continuous?
90% of that, if not 100% of that, is completely due to the fact that you know for the adjustment period and it goes away. Um, but I mean, in the long term, that's a question that we're trying to answer. Is like, do you really need to be awake during the daylight? Does that matter? But like when you change because it takes like a fucking week or some shit like that. Like it takes a lot, many days for your clock to realign, like sleeping clock and also the liver clock, both of them to realign takes like many days. And so like the first day after you switch it, your liver is asleep when it's supposed to be, removing toxins from the, food you ate and all that, but it's like trying to fucking sleep, and then you have all this food, getting into your blood that, the liver is not really taking care of. It fucks you up. And then, obviously, like melatonin levels are fucked up because your natural melatonin levels supposed to like dip, at a certain time during the day and
I
rise
have a
another
study
time.
related to that. Okay, so on regards of the circadian misalignment, there was no significant effect of condition on 24 hours heart rate. Um, the probability or the p-value was 0.20. However, there was an effect of circadian misalignment exposure duration. The p-value was lesser than 0.0001. 24-hour rate heart rate was 1.6 beats per minute higher in the circadian misalignment than alignment condition during the test, and the p-value was 0.0021 without significant difference during the test period. It had a p-value of 0.61. Circadian misalignment decreased wake period heart rate by 0.9 beats per minute and increased sleep period heart rate by 3.66 beats per minute. And the p-value of that was lesser than 0.008. Those effects were dependent on exposure duration to circadian misalignment. And the probability value was lesser than
Well,
0.019.
so it said independent of exposure. Like, how long did they expose them for?
Uh,
That's that's
I
where the
don't.
methods come in.
Yeah. I need to take a look at the methods. Yeah.
Like, was it like 2 days? Because it takes like 7 days to align the clock.
Mm, yeah. I should. You want me to look into that into this study?
Yes, I suppose that would be a good question.
Okay.
Like if they force them to, switch, do their misalignment and then stay on that schedule for like, say, 2 weeks, and then after 2 weeks, they still had those effects, then that would say something. But again, like when you're awake, when your brain wants to sleep, and the other way around, until you acclimate, all kinds of things happen with the body.
Okay. Uh, Wake up period rate was 1.5 beats per minute lower in the circadian misalignment and alignment condition during test period. Without significant difference during the test. Uh, Circadian misalignment increased sleep opportunity heart rate to a greater extent during test 1, and it had positive 5.3 beats per minute compared to um, to I mean positive 2.0 beats per minute of like the aligned one. So yeah, I guess your heartbeat beats more
Yeah, I mean,
when you're sleeping. If
the
you
more is worse.
yeah, when
Yeah, the less is better.
yep.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it definitely is a really shitty thing to do to the body, to like change your sleeping schedule. To be honest, but
Yeah.
like again, like I kind of wish I knew more answers. Like as far as like, is it really the sleeping schedule, or is it the when you eat that fucks you up?
Hmm.
Because like it's it's unbelievably important, that your liver clock.
I mean, I already wrote that
Uh,
question then.
uh,
Um, the study feasibility of time bleh. The study feasibility of time restricted eating
oh,
and
you know what?
impacts.
Um, so I guess not. I guess it wouldn't work for tomorrow, but like for after tomorrow, uh, we should. So like when I say a question, right? And like if it's hard to find a clear answer, which is true for most of my or a lot of my questions. Like it's really hard to find an answer.
Yeah,
Uh, Also, like uh, try to come up with an experiment that we can actually test it. Just in theory,
an
like a
experiment
theoretical experiment that
on regards to what?
uh, on ourselves more or less,
No, no, but
or yeah,
like,
I guess so.
are you saying that
So
it's like a free project where I can come up with an experiment that we should test in ourselves?
yeah.
Okay.
So for example, like say like this circadian misalignment, so like we can do like an experiment where we like say like change our sleep by 1 hour, but not our food when we eat, and then like say do it the other way around, and
Yeah, yeah.
see which one has a greater, or like something, because a lot of times like there is no clear answer easily that can be easily found on the internet, and so the best thing to do is for us to just fucking test it ourselves,
Yeah, for sure. I can come up with something. I just wrote it down.
yeah. Yeah. So like for questions when it's like hard to find an answer, just come up with a theoretical experiment that we could possibly do if we
Yep.
decide to.
Yeah, yeah. For
Cool,
sure.
cool.
Um, so the study feasibility of time restricted eating and impacts on cardiometabolic health in 24 hours shift workers. The Healthy People randomized controlled trial aimed to examine the feasibility and impact of time restricted eating, which is TRE, um, time restricted eating, in 24 hours shift workers and its effect on cardiometabolic health. Uh, this study was randomized by a controlled trial where the participants were randomly assigned to either a control group or an intervention group. The intervention group was asked to eat during an 8-hour window and avoid food for remaining 16 hours, while the control group had no restrictions on their eating patterns. The results of the study showed that it was possible for 24-hour shift workers to implement TRE, which is time
So
restricted
what's a
eating.
24-hour shift worker?
Like basically someone that fuck, if I'm not mistaken, when I read it, it was like basically someone that works like daily. Yeah, it was something like that. I read it. It was something like that you're obligated to basically work like 24 hours. Yeah, I just
Oh, you work 24
yeah,
hours
that's
straight and then you sleep.
yeah.
Okay, I mean, question for the next time, like, what exactly did they mean like, what exactly did their shift workers do? Like, what was that shift worker schedule?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this one is super interesting. Okay, let's go.
Um okay. Uh, I got it. So 24 hour shift workers to implement TRE, which is a time restricted eating, and that it had a positive impact on their cardiometabolic health. The intervention group had lower body mass index, waist circumference, systolic blood pressure, and a total cholesterol levels compared to the control group. Participants in the intervention group reported
How,
improved sleep
how long? How
quality.
long? How long? Wait. Like back to methods. How long did they do the intervention for?
Mm, back to methods. I have not been using like a lookup for like I remember reading that, but since I went through so many and I thought that what we were looking for was the results, I did not include that.
Yeah, it's just for future. Like it's very difficult. Like it's much easier to, or it's much more
Yeah, yeah.
useful to interpret results if you know the
I have a
methods.
question. What about like the ones that they have results but they don't explain the methods? And I'm not lying. There is some of them that they include what they did, and they do not include statistics, and they just include results. And some of them are very complete, other ones are not.
I mean, if it's a study in a journal, they'll always have methods, unless I mean you just mean the abstract, right?
No, 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 no. But like, if I try to look up the study, right, and I only end up finding like abstract or conclusion or like literally two sentences. There is some studies that when I try to click on them, it says that uh it's no longer available, and there is only the abstract on some random fucking website, and I try to look for it, and I'm like, oh fuck, it's not fucking here. And I'm like, well, fuck, I need to find a different one. And then I find a different one and I
Yeah,
read it. So yeah, yeah. I guess I'll use.
yeah. Sometimes you just can't get the methods. Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, the ones that they have
yeah. They're
methods,
they're
I
they're
will include them.
yeah. If there's methods available, like I definitely want to hear them.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So I'll make sure to add the methods every time. um
Yeah.
what was I gonna say? uh Participants in the intervention group reported improved sleep quality, energy levels, and overall satisfaction with their time restricted eating intervention intervention. Yes, these results suggested that time restricted eating can have a positive impact on cardiometabolic health. Um, Particularly speaking about the ones in the 24-hour shift workers who might have disrupted their circadian rhythms and altered eating patterns.
Yeah. See, the question is like, is it different? Is it any different than making a normal person do restricted eating? Because there's lots of benefits for a normal person to do restrictive eating. So is
Wait,
there any difference between like the normal person or the shift worker
okay,
as far as doing the benefits of restricted eating?
okay. What's your question? I was opening my
It's
notes.
it. No, no, it's not for you. It's
Oh, okay.
like just for the fucking authors of the study. The authors of the study are like, hey, there is a benefit of restricted eating for the shift workers. Well, I mean, there is a benefit of restricted eating for anybody, and the question is like, is the benefit of restricted eating like greater for the shift worker or the
Hmm.
same as
Yeah.
anybody else? Because there's benefit for anybody. The
Yeah.
question is, how does it compare?
That's
It's
true.
like they didn't. I don't know. Like yeah, like I wish they had like a normal like where they took a normal person and like, or they compared it to like what resulted with that shift worker on restricted eating schedule, and like did that shift worker become normal like anybody else, or was he still with at higher risk for things, or like higher worse blood pressure than an average person after doing restricted eating?
Yeah.
Like does restricted eating makes a shift worker normal, or is it just moves him in the right direction, but it still doesn't get him all the way?
Hmm.
But yeah, it's fine. I mean, nobody seems to like fucking take that into account. They just whatever.
Yeah.
But it's cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like, I restricted eating definitely is a good thing to do
Hmm.
in general.
There's another one. Circadian rhythms, metabolism, and nutrition are immediately linked. Although effects of meal timing on the human circadian system are at the moment just like poorly understood. It was investigated the effect of a 5 hours delay in meals on markers of the human master clock and multiple peripheral circadian rhythms. Uh, 10 healthy young men, they took a 30-day laboratory protocol, 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and were given a 5 hours interval, beginning either zero point 0.5, which will be early, or 5.5, it will be like the later one, uh, hours after they wake up. Participants were like adapted to early meals and then switched to late meals for 6 days. After each meal schedule, participants' circadian rhythms were measured in a 37-hour constant routine that removes sleep and environmental rhythms while replacing meals with hourly i- isocaloric snack meals. Um, Meal timing did not affect actigraphic sleep parameters before circadian rhythm measurement in constant routines. Meal timing did not affect rhythms of subjective hunger and sleepiness. Master clock markers, plasma melatonin and cortisol, um, plasma triglycerides, or clock gene expression in the whole body. Following late meals, however, plasma glucose rhythms were delayed by 5.69 and 1.29 hours. An average glucose concentration decreased by 0.27 and 0.05 units in and the p-value was lesser than 0.001 in the
The-
adipose tissue. What?
I didn't get it. Like what did they do?
In this entire study,
Yeah.
so they were like investigating how does your body affects to when you delay meals in your body, like how they message your master clock, which will
So
in
delay. You mean delay breakfast?
yeah they yeah okay, so they underwent for in like a 13 hours like protocol, and like for like their meals, right, they changed their meal schedule with like 5 hours intervals, right, for like
Wait.
breakfast.
What? Yeah. What do you mean 5 hour interval?
Like basically they for example, if you were gonna eat fucking your breakfast at like 6, you'll end up eating it at like 11. Or if you were gonna eat your dinner at like 7, right, you ended up eating it like 12.
So they took people, and then they divide them in two groups.
Yeah,
And then one group they said to move their eating by 5 hours forward, and then the other group they said do nothing.
yeah.
And then how long? And then how long did they do that for?
13 days.
Okay, and then after 13 days they measured stuff.
Yep, basically.
Okay, so this is like an effect of 13 days after the switch, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. If you can start with the results again.
Okay, yeah,
I
yeah.
was still thinking about that when you were reading the results.
Okay, yeah. Let me see where I left it. Hmm. Okay. Meal timing did not affect rhythms of subjective hunger and sleepiness. Master clock markers plasma, melatonin, and cortisol, plasma
That's
triglycerides.
freaking nuts. Wait, did it just say not to affect hunger? Like seriously, like like when you eat the first time that day. Oh,
Yeah, that's
maybe after 13 days, like and you get used to it, like you're the same hungry.
or cortisol, plasma triglycerides, or clock gene expression in the whole body. Following late meals, however, plasma glucose rhythms were delayed by 5.69 and 1.29 hours, and the p-value was 0.001. An average glucose concentration decreased by 0.27 and 0.05 nm. In adipose tissue, uh, we're just going to say mRNA rhythms were delayed by 0.97 and 0.29 hours, and the p-value was lesser than 0.001, indicating that human molecular clocks might be regulated by feeding time and cold underpin plasma glucose changes. Time meals. Therefore, time meals play a role in synchronizing peripheral circadian rhythms in human and might have particular relevance for patients with circadian rhythm disorders, like shift workers and like people that travel, basically travelers. I think that kind of answers your question of how meals correlate to the circadian rhythm, doesn't it?
I mean, I kind of would need to hear that results again because it was confusing. So sometimes so they eat 5 hours later, but their peak only moves by 1 hour on some things.
Uh, it was like 1.5.69 and then plus 1.29 hours, and in other ones was
Oh,
yeah.
so what moved only by 1 hour, even though they changed feeding by 5 hours?
Plasma glucose rhythms were delayed by 5.69 plus 1.29 hours.
What do you mean plus 1 point? What I don't get it.
I
So there's two numbers, but you said just
it has
one
it has a plus right next
thing.
to the to it. Like there is like the plus symbol.
Is it like plus minus?
Yeah, plus minus. Like a plus on the top and a minus at the bottom.
Well, you didn't say plus
My
minus. You
bad,
said
my
just
bad.
plus.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's tiny, bro. It's tiny. I need to change the font. Let me increase the font.
Because yeah, that I mean like that doesn't make sense. Five
Yeah,
changed
yeah.
by 5 hours plus one.
Yes, my bad.
That's why I was like, what am I hearing here?
Yes, and
Yeah, I mean that basically means that one is the confidence interval
okay.
of that five. It's like, yeah, that makes like a lot more sense. You move the feeding schedule by 5 hours forward, and then your like food metrics like glucose, move by the same amount by 5 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And
Um.
the mRNA rhythms were delayed by 0.97 plus minus 0.29 hours.
What?
The mRNA rhythms were delayed by 0.97 plus minus 0.29 hours.
So the question is, which um, the question is, which mRNA cycles were moved exactly?
Okay.
Because I mean, there's there's, like I said, there's different clocks, and different organs have their own mRNA clock. So I'm curious now which ones moved by 1 hour.
Hmm.
Was it, yeah, like more in depth, like which mRNA pathways? Um,
Let me check.
but you said that they ended up with lower glucose on
Wait, is
average, right?
PER2 1 or not? PER2 mRNA
Uh,
is PER2 1?
okay, well then the question is what is PER21 and like what it relates to.
Okay, yeah, I'll
I
look
don't
at
know
it.
what that is. Yeah.
Okay, and what I was gonna say? Yeah. So basically, that will be it for this study. And now I'm gonna talk
So,
about what?
so let's see. Did you say that they ended up with lower glucose levels?
Yes. Wait. No. Excuse me. Yes. An average glucose concentration decreased by 0.27 uh, plus
So
negative of 0.05 units.
plus minus.
I mean plus minus, yes.
Say that number again.
Plus
Say
minus.
that number again.
0.27 plus minus 0.05 units.
Oh, so definite. So they definitely increased or decreased. Their average glucose level decreased, right? Went down.
Yes, yes, it decreased. It went down, it decreased,
So
yes.
so so even though they started eating later and closer to bedtime, their glucose average glucose level actually went down.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Um, okay, I mean, if you want to, we can just do the rest tomorrow, since you're not gonna be, really doing like a presentation tomorrow, anyways. I mean, in case you want to go to sleep or whatever, right now.
Uh, you want to?
We can. I mean, because you don't really have a presentation to do for tomorrow, right? Because you
Yeah,
got
yeah.
that other thing.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, we can do it.